Hello, hello. Good evening to everyone. We are from the. I'm Nick, and with me are the charmed ones from the yes from the Paranormal Podcast. So we are here for a quick pug session, as we would like to call it. And for those of you watching now who don't know us, we are from a podcast that we're trying to find out more about the spiritual world, and we were invited, and we are thankful and grateful for being invited to this occasion to share these our thoughts with all of you, our sincere thoughts, of course. So I'd like to introduce everyone here, Sam, Liz, and JM. Hello, hello. Hi naman
Hello,
kayo.
everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yes. What are your takeaways from the last session with Miss Wariza?
Well, for me, because I was really trying, because unfortunately I cannot sit properly here. But one thing that, one thing that I have to, take point there is that one, she made mention a while ago that you just don't click on a YouTube channel and then just start doing yoga, right?
Yes.
Because it really does, you do really need a master, and that master will help you out on what kind of, because there's a lot of kind of yogas, right? So they will teach
Yes.
you, or they will guide you through which one is better for you, which one is suited for you.
Given that personally I haven't tried yoga, and after learning from Miss Wariza, she kept mentioning that if you have blocked chakras, it is a good it's a good uh, thing to do
Way to,
to un
yeah.
yes, way to go to unblock it. Liz, I've heard that you also tried uh, yoga. What kind of yoga have you tried?
I used to do Bikram yoga before the pandemic, but right now I used to do it as an exercise, but
Mm-hmm.
like I can see the difference between actual like chakra unblocking and how you use it as an exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really different pala.
Yes, the differences are very clear. And again, for people like us, well, me personally, and I'm not sure with Sam, Liz, and JM, but we are not exposed to this spiritual practices, and it's a pleasure for us, of course, to listen and watch, of course, the guests for for this session. So,
Yes.
go Sam. Sige, you were saying something.
No, because I was actually gonna say, like, because on the podcast we've transitioned from, the normal scary thing to the
Yes.
more educational part. So we were like
Yes.
really looking for a venue and, more knowledge, and then poof, this
Yes.
happened.
Yes. And then Miss May happened.
Yeah.
And we were exposed to a larger world. Actually, earlier I was listening to Inin, I think, when she talked about plant medicine, and it was a big uh, mind. My mind was blown because I didn't realize that there was that spirituality involved with of course with plants. But yes, I digress. uh, we tend to just babble and talk about these things. We will not say that we are experts. We are maybe a lot like some of the people watching right now. We are enthusiasts, and sometimes we want to learn more. That's the reason
Yes.
we're here. um I think we can introduce or talk about the next one. I think it's about
Sir Benjamin, am I correct?
Ben and Amalia. Yes, the
Benjamin.
Maharlikan roadmap.
Yes.
So looking at that, it's more about doing something in the Sierra Madre. No, so I think again, just a short intro. Me personally, I have no sensitivities to these things, and the three my three friends here have different sensitivities. Okay, so maybe I'll talk about that briefly, just so you get an idea of where we're coming from. So Sam grew up with it, and I think around 5 or 6 years ago in his life, it 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 disappeared. Is that a
Yeah.
correct term, Sam? Is it disappeared?
It,
And
I think the term is more on there was a block that
yes,
happened.
yes,
So I think that slowly but surely I'm going back. I'm getting back all the abilities that I used to have, and I'm really more excited. Like right now, like what you said, we this is a lot of learning right now. So I want to take advantage of this as well because this might help me reach my full potential if that would be the case.
yes. And for Liz, she was she couldn't accept her her abilities to see human spirits, and up till now, of course, she's still bothered that she feels that it isn't real, or she feels that she might be losing her mind. So I think the first talk last yesterday, coming out of self-doubt, is a good thing for her to watch also, because it's something to help her understand her spirituality. And I think right now, because of the awakening happening all around the world, especially here in the Philippines, of the with the people we've talked to, and then there, yun. It's a good thing for that. And James, of course, practiced a bit of witchcraft, but he's had this sensitivity this whole life. And okay, let's introduce back Chelsea. Chelsea, I think that's our reaction for
Chelsea,
for now. Hello. Hello,
Hello!
nice to meet
hi,
you.
Nice meeting you here.
Yes.
nice
Hello.
meeting you.
May baby pa akong nagbabahing.
Oo nga.
Anyway,
Yes, you.
ayan. I'm
Okay lang
here
yan.
to announce some of the winners for our paraffle. So, sandali lang
Is
po.
my name a part of it? No? Okay.
Ibang price. Ibang price mo. Kiss lang.
I no, thank you. Bye.
Okay, ayan. So for I think there was a not a contest, but uh they were asking for cacao meditation sessionista winners.
Mm,
Ayan.
for these winners.
So these are the cacao sessionist winners. Um Send us a message later on. Cecile Veloso, are you still here? Chel or Boda and Cez Martinez. Ayan. So, ayan sila. And there are some raffle prizes. Let me just recap the raffle prizes that that was given. And I'm just waiting for the names of the winners for this. So there's these are beautiful prizes, by the way. So candle making workshop by Rael Marzan, upstyle window blinds, and an opportunity to join the sacred tree planting shindig on November 27 to 28. Grabe.
Mm,
I've been looking
exciting.
Wow.
forward to this, pero I'm in Bacolod, so I can't join.
Sayang.
Join
Ah,
kayo, mga
Oh.
pagpag-sessioners.
Sige,
Okay.
sige. Tignan natin.
So,
Natatakot ako sumama sa inyo.
bakit naman? Baka may makita ka. Char!
Yes, yes.
you can join that because it's available
It's
online.
online. Okay, sige, we can
Oh,
Fair
join.
pwedeng
naman.
pwede
Pero
Yes,
ka.
di
we'll
ba
share the
masaya
link.
yun? Punta kayo doon, tapos tent and all.
Yes.
Totoo.
Sige.
Ayun. So yung Sacred Tree Planting Shindig on November 27 to 28, this is an all expense paid overnight communing with nature and ceremonial tree planting by the Philippine Academy of Intuitives, or PAINT, which is one of the efforts to reforest the Sierra Madre. For those
Mm.
who may be interested to participate as well, donate in cash and in kind for this advocacy. I would just like to highlight the email: PAINTUITIVES, paintuitives at gmail.com. Ayun po. So, ayan. Nakuha ko na kung sino yung mga
Okay.
winners for the following prizes.
Let's see.
Kumusta naman po kayo? Ano namang ganap dyan while waiting for
Gan-
Eto naman, eto lang. Umaora.
Nakaka-overwhelm yung teaching ni Madam kanina.
Oo.
'Di ba? Parang kang na shaken up.
Oo.
True.
Yun. It's calming but it
Yes, it's
shakes
calming.
you to the
Yeah.
core.
Mhm.
Charot!
Iba yung effect niya.
Anyway,
Iba yung...
eto. So, ayan, nakuha ko na. They've given me the names of the winners. So, for the candle making workshop by Rael Marzan, the winner is Vicky Perez, who is part of the VIP. For upstyle window blinds, the winner is Elira Toralba, who's also in VIP. And
Congratulations.
yes, and the opportunity to join the sacred tree planting shindig on November 27 to 28. Mark those on your calendar if you want to join. So the winner is Jeanette Garcia of Premium. So there you go. Congratulations,
Congratulations.
everyone.
Chelsea, I have a question. So for those who want to join online, they just go to the Paintuitives page. Is that the way to join
The
if they want to
the
go
best
online?
way is to email
Okay.
intuitives at gmail
Okay.
dot com.
Okay. Sige.
Yon. So, we have our next speakers.
Yes.
Kumusta? So, ayan.
Ready na
Ako
rin
ba mag...
kami to watch. Yes,
Ready
Miss
na kayo
Chelsea.
to watch?
Ikaw yata ang
Teka,
ano.
gusto niyo mag-introduce or ako na?
Ikaw na, Miss Chelsea.
Kaya mo na yan.
Ay, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Grabe, I'm so honored to be in the same screen as you. Talagang ilalagay ko talaga to sa sa aking journal na parang
Wow. Kami mga
today
nakamask.
ay today I sat with pagpag sessions. Ay, yon.
Wow.
Ano
Sige.
yan,
Oo.
highlight of my
Highlight.
day. So, ayun. Our next speakers launch the social enterprise Kayumanggi Organic with smallholder farmers on a mission to increase their income and improve people's health. In 2018, they launched the Kapatiran Kalusugan Kalikasan or KKK movement to foster brotherhood, good health, and environment regeneration. They are currently developing isinilang na Maharlika Eco Village in Sierra Madre Hills in order to cultivate such a way of life in the local community. Convinced that the change begins within, they pursue a path of inner growth through all their initiatives called the Maharlikan Roadmap, which they will be talking about this evening. So,
Yes.
everyone, friends, families, brothers and sisters, and folks of all colors, let's all welcome Amalia Morante and Benjamin Bernabela of Maharlikan Roadmap.
Ay, okay. Hello,
Hi.
hello.
So,
Hello,
you're
hello.
on mute.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good
Awesome
evening.
to be here with you. Oh, okay, are we supposed to start?
Mhm.
I think so, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. We're looking at ourselves here, which is a little bit unexpected and unusual. Moment to get used to that. Something's changing now. Okay. Actually, I can share my screen. We have a presentation that okay. So okay, this is our first time with the StreamYard. Trying to share our presentation here, but not yet seeing how to do that. I will probably send the host our presentation, and then we can start in just a few seconds. So that file is being sent, and then hopefully the host can share it while we do our presentation here. Okay, well, it's sent on Messenger to LJ. That was a question from the host. So wonderful, a new experience here. And it's really an honor to be joining the Spirit Conference International. Thanking May and the team for inviting us to join this conference and share about the work that we do. It's really an opportunity that we value and feel very honored to be able to do this. So, well, we've been introduced already.
Yeah.
So just want to take a brief moment also to tune in to the history of who we are, just a moment to connect with ourselves, to ground, and also connect with our spirits, our spirit guides, and our angels, and especially our ancestors who have helped build these lands, the country where we live, the Philippines, and we want to thank them for the work that they've done and honor them. And now it's in our hands, a generation that is alive today, to continue building this nation, building a life on these lands. And that's really what our presentation is about. This roadmap. It's about how to flourish as individuals and as people, especially Filipinos, together here on our islands.
I think Hal is asking to share the file to her.
Where shall I share it?
To May. The file.
To May, okay. Wait. Found it. Okay. Right.
So we're sharing it now.
Yeah. Cool. That's the last slide, but we're going to start here. So, over to you, Amalia. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is our pleasure, and we're very honored to be joining the Spirit Conference this year. It's our first time to get invited, and now we would love to share with you a poem by Lacan that we would like to share with you right now. You can play the music. Peace. On the islands born of fire and sea, we the people of many bloods seek union with self and all. We acknowledge, we call upon histories of great warrior nations flowing through our veins. We call upon histories of unions with cultures of our neighbors. We call upon histories of the present never learned. We seek identity amidst all the cultures. We seek justice for what we have done to ourselves and our land. Peace. We release, call upon the fires of the warriors, to rise up, and course to a new fate. Call upon the waters of the soul to wash our blindness and refresh our spirits. Call upon the earth of life to shelter and nurture our lives. Call upon the winds of light to sweep up our hearts and bind them. Release the pain, release the fear, release the yearning, and be peace. We awaken. We are no longer chained to a foreign cavalier's name. As we awaken, to the baptism of our new title, we are the Maharlika, the beloved creation. We are one with ourselves, with our land. We are home, peace. We return. The tides rise and the blood is washed, and we move to a new destiny, peace. This beautiful poem is written by Lacan John Taniedo Olivares. It's called Beloved Creation.
All right. So, thank you, Amalia. So we would like to use the next 20-25 minutes to give a brief introduction of the Maharlikan roadmap. Starting with what it is, in short, how it evolved, a little bit more on the roadmap, and then really a brief overview of the components of the roadmap, and ending with some questions. So we want to make this a more personal sharing. This is not a workshop or a training. We really just want to share what we do. So what is the Maharlikan roadmap? Well, there are so many ways in which you could define it. And we would like to define it as an open invitation to embark on a personal journey of progress that is shared with others toward the flourishing of our human lives on the planet. And it is based on the chakras. And how awesome that it connects to our previous speaker who spoke about awakening the Kundalini, and that energy of the Kundalini is used to fire up our lives and heighten our sensitivities, our creativities, our life force. And we can use that to flourish in life, to improve our lives, to grow who we are. And again, that is what this invitation is about, to flourish in life and to do it together with others. So it's really something to share with others. It's a journey that we are here to share. I'll give a brief little history because it's quite important, I think, in order to understand what it is, to know how it came about. And it all began basically when I arrived in the Philippines. That is almost 9 years ago. And I really started to experience the Philippines and the people of the Philippines. And the deep desire was really to understand the people and to know, to see and to feel how life could improve for the many people living in the Philippines. I came to Angat, which is in Bulacan, and it's a small town. There's a lot of poverty. It's the average conditions of the Philippines. And for somebody coming from the Netherlands, where I came from, that is very confronting, very shocking. So over the years, I learned, I inquired. I then started my relationship with Amalia, and that, of course, brought everything as personal as it could be. All the relationships problems that are normally there. Relationships are hardly ever easy. But then in a cross-cultural situation, in a context of, say, poverty, of very different climate and circumstances, in a culture that is not easy for a Dutch person to connect with. So it is really that observation of life that while I experienced it, while I lived it, and in conversation, in constant conversation with the people around me, especially with Amalia, to understand, really the desire to understand. I also worked in some social enterprises before we started Kaimangi Organic, and observed the dynamic there for the purpose of seeing how it can be improved. And the first step towards this roadmap was actually made when I learned about inner dance from Pai. Some people might know Pai. He's been teaching inner dance for quite a lot of years. And I attended a workshop on the inner dance and how it connects to the chakras and the mandala of the chakras. And that's when I started to put things together in terms of the difficulties that I was witnessing and experiencing, and putting them into this framework of the mandalas and the chakras. So at first, I call it the mandala framework. And over time, and especially inspired by the poem from John Lacan, we were moved towards the expression of Maharlika, which is a combination of the words Mahal and Likha, which in English is beloved creation. And do you want to? And so, as we were on this journey of growth, we realized that it is very difficult, if not almost impossible, to actually live in line with our aspirations, in line with our values, just the two of us. If the rest of the people around you, the culture, the society around you is living a totally different life, the only thing that you could possibly do is live in a bubble somewhere, on a piece of land, and just create your own life. But then how human, a life is that? I mean, some people love that, but really, like, the idea of living a human life is to be integrated with other human beings, to do things together, to share life. Not necessarily to isolate, although of course for those people who do like that is totally fine. But for the average person, would want to live a shared life with others and do nice things together and enjoy a quality of life, together. So we were like, if we want to make this happen, we have to learn to do this in community. We have to engage on a shared journey with other people who want to take this journey together with us. And so, that is basically how the Maharlikan roadmap came about, a map, an invitation for people to join together on this journey of personal growth, and really guided by spirit within, and also helping each other, giving feedback on each other, doing it really together, benefiting from the company. So that was a brief overview of how it developed. And let me go back to my presentation here to go to the next slide. Yeah. Okay, just some closing words before we go into the roadmap itself. The roadmap is non-denominational. It's not connected to any religion. It's non-dogmatic. It's an open invitation. It is living. It needs to be improved over time. It needs to be changed. It can be adapted. It's not fixed. It's not standard. It's for anybody however they might like it or might benefit from it or use it. And it's also non-linear. So as you will see, it's in a mandala, which is a non-linear representation of the components of the roadmaps coming together and in relationship to each other in a non-linear way. And it's very much a shared framework for conversation and for feedback that allows people, the group, the community, to have the same reference, to speak sort of a similar language so that we can communicate effectively and guide each other or help each other, stimulate each other, encourage each other. Okay. Um, yeah, here we start with a brief overview of the elements of the roadmap.
Okay. Yeah. So we usually when they present or show the chakras to people, they usually start with the roots or pangunahin. But before we start, I want to share something about this, like the roadmap, the Maharlikan, the mandala, because my background is I grew up in a very strict religious family, and also these things, mandala, chakras. 7 years ago, it was really a mystery to me. Like it's like, oh, this is huge. I cannot understand that. I cannot, you know, digest it. Like I cannot really relate to that. Then, gradually as I hear and see it and read about it and um, like witnessing people sharing about the chakras and the mandala, I realized that it has so many practical applications in our life. And I said that, and I thought that, yeah, it's really practical. It's within us. It's in us. And if we will just understand these points, these chakras, we can really relate, and we can really use it as an opportunity to really um, unlock our potential by understanding these points. So we start with um, Diwa. So this is the spirit. Um, when we share this with the community, with people, we would like to share it in a way that it is not a mystery, that we want to know that we are all connected to our creator, and through our spirit we all know that we are created by God, and that we are all children of God. And through our connection, and the spirit is within us, we are sharing with others that this is not um, like it has nothing to do with our religion. It doesn't matter what practice are we what religion are we practicing, but this is more of how we can really connect and experience spirit within us. And because of our background here in the Philippines, as you know, I want to share my personal experience. We are so distracted by so many things. We prioritize our work, that we need to survive, we need to provide for the family, and that is the most important thing in our lives every day, and that we somehow neglect our time to connect to the spirit, connect to God, be in silence, and feel our connectedness to nature, and experience the genuinely how it feels to be loved by God, by our creator. So when we share it with the community and people, they say like, okay, so we understand it's not something that we cannot do. We want to experience that also. So we share how to practice meditation, how to really pray and be in silence, so that they will feel their inner self connected to the spirit. And can we move on to the next?
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. So from the spirit, we can go back to the roots, or pangunahin. This is the red chakra. So most of us Filipinos, or most of the people, um, yeah, yeah. So when we talk about roots, we made it. We make a simple explanation or examples of how we really want to take care of ourselves, of our body, of our environment. How do we respect ourselves? Like if we can, we deserve to be in a dignified home, for example. We people deserve to be in a environment that is green and not polluted. But because we grew up in an environment that it's okay when environment is dirty, when there's trash, when there's, the condition is not really good, not comfortable, we become used to it. And because of that, it's difficult for us to improve our living condition. And that's one thing that we always remind the community, the people, that we deserve to improve our lives every day. We can do that, and it's not about having money, that or like, if we lack money we cannot improve our living condition. It is not true. And we uh, witnessed how people without much money, but they are able to make their homes beautiful and clean and comfortable, and at the same time, dignifying their living conditions and their body by improving their health, eating healthy, knowing that junk foods are not good for the body, so that they will respect their body and not really just say, "Oh, this is all I can afford." So for us, it is important that we share with the community that we can take care of ourselves, take care of our health, take care of our living condition in our creative way, even without a lot of money. So should we go back to that?
Yeah,
You can share something.
yeah, for us to feel inspired to improve the conditions in which we live, the physical conditions, it can come from basically two different places within us, because we want to let's say, from a materialistic place where we just think that this life is all there is, this is what we have, and we want it to be good, we want to feel good about it, and we want to feel good in comparison to others. So we want to make sure that our life looks good, looks successful, that other people will respect us because of the car we have, the big house, the clean house, or the good looking house, or other kinds of material aspirations that we have. A lot of people are motivated to make life better because of that. Sometimes people who feel primarily motivated by spirit care a little bit less about how well our physical condition is. It doesn't matter. It is, what matters is our spiritual life and spiritual experiences. This is true. The spiritual experience matters more than the physical condition, but the spiritual experience within us also calls for an expression on the planet. We are born in a body belongs to a planet, and we can make this life that we live on the planet an expression of that spirit, of the spiritual experience that we feel within ourselves. And that's why it's good for us, to, as Amalia said, to connect with spirit first of all, or at least strengthen the connection. Because when you feel that connection, that inspiration, and that love, you feel really an energy towards making this life better, more beautiful. So maybe we can look at that a little bit more, at that spirit, what it really is, or what we feel it is about.
Yeah, so when when you feel the love of God, you would really sense your importance, that you're an important creation, you're a beloved creation, and that we deserve a beautiful and joyful life. But then, because of our context here, of being judgmental, and somehow everything that we do is being limited because we are fearful of judgments of others, and it prevented us really from connecting to the spirit, because we want to do things things that are um, in conformity with what others will approve. So it really limits us a lot. So in this way, we mirror ourselves and see that this is how we really want to live our life. This is really how we want to flourish, because we deserve it, because we are beloved creation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So shall we move on to the next one after the roots?
Mm-hmm.
And also maybe the Tagalog word for those who don't read Tagalog and maybe who wonder about is the word pangunahin, why did we choose that word instead of maybe ugat, which is a translation of roots? Because we really want to emphasize that it is the basic constituency of who we are. The fact that we live in this material body isn't let's say the greatest part of our being. It's not the most important part. It's really more of the basic part. But even though it is basic, it doesn't make it not important or unimportant. So it's like the roots of a tree. The word roots expresses that, kind of symbolizes that. It's where you are based. But from your roots, you're growing upward. You're not growing down towards your root or into the soil. That is only what your roots do. But your life aspiration as a tree, as a plant, is going upward, and you express yourself upward. And it's the same for us human beings. We take care of our material existence because it is vital to living on this planet. It's very much part of it, but it's really the basic part of it. Our aspiration is upward and towards the spirit, to live more and more spiritually, feel more and more connected with spirit, to live in a life that expresses the values of spirit. And that is, of course, fundamentally love. That is why we chose the word pangunahin, to really emphasize that in Tagalog. It means basic needs.
So the third point is the kamalayan, or the mind. I think when we grew up in the context where, especially when you graduated from school, where all the information are being fed, like spoon feeding you with all the things that you need to learn, and it is designed really that you can be somehow easily conform to what is there and what is needed. It is difficult really for many people to think for themselves, to practice critical thinking, to be creative in their choices, because practically it is easy to just have the choices like A, B, and C. Just choose A, whatever is suitable or comfortable to you. But then in this journey, we encourage our community, everyone, and for those people who really want to progress in their state, in their being, that it is really time for us to stop conforming and stop saying yes to what is being said. If it's good, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. We also know that it's good to respect. But then when we feel that it is no longer you who's deciding for yourself, and you are not given space to really speak your mind, then we encourage people to journey and join us in developing that. Use our minds and not be fearful. And sometimes most of the uh, decisions made by people is because of what is acceptable by others and what is being uh, thought by our parents, by the church. Again, there's nothing wrong with that if it's really helpful and good. But then if you cannot be yourself and you cannot really express your truth because of your fear, and you limit yourself by thinking critically and creatively, so it is also like an obstacle for us to really grow in this aspect. So for the children and the youth in the community, we encourage them to think. When there is something to solve, we allow them to participate, use their mind, be creative, and not limit themselves. And no suggestion is being like that's wrong or not good. Everything is being invited and welcome. So it's a good exercise for the community and the people to um, develop that critical thinking and be free.
Yeah, a lot of people we hear often see their mind as something of an obstacle or something that almost needs to be need to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's understandable because there's so much in our mind that hinders our connection with spirituality and feeling ourselves as spiritual beings and treating other people with love. There's so much in our mind. We feel it though as the mind really being a gateway to the spirit, where these things in our mind that are blocking us are really things that we are here to learn to clear and heal and integrate and expand, open, to expand the mental space in which we can reflect on what happens around us, the experiences that we have, the feelings that we have inside us, to reflect on the thoughts that we have inside of us. If our mind is very small, there is not much connection to the spirit. There's not much space for reflectivity, for considering what is an action, a decision, or a word that is actually in line with spirit, that actually expresses a spirituality that I feel within me. We need mental space for that. We need to grow the mind that we have to almost clarify, make our minds more clear. So that's not an easy journey. That takes time. That takes experiences, and experiences, need time to happen. So it's basically day after day after day after day after day. All the days of our lives.
I remember the days whenever we converse and you encouraged me to think more about it. Usually I was that's so annoyed, but why do I have to think about it? It's just easy. Let's just leave it as is, or in that way. So yeah, it's very difficult at first, but it's a practice. Practice and practice every day. And the community now, they appreciate that when we encourage them really to think for themselves and express it freely.
So essentially speaking, the spirit comes or is within us, but comes through expression through the mind that we have, the things that we say, the things that we think, the things that we do, the decisions that we made. All of that determines or causes the life that we live, and it's coming through our mind. So if we don't address that mind, if we don't consider it as vital, and if we don't invest through the experience that we have on improving our mind, we may be very spiritual and feeling it inside us, but if we don't have the mental capacity to bring that to our life, then it stops within us, basically. And the idea is to flourish and thrive. So the mind is really almost like almost like a captain in a sense. Like,
Mm.
you know, what are you gonna do? You choose something in your mind. You choose that, and either it's a, you know, it's a great response to what you experience, or a little bit less good, or mediocre, or you know, not so great, or just poor. Sometimes it's just a really poor reaction that happens. So yun, ang ating mind, ang ating kamalayan. Kamalayan, the word expresses mindfulness, to really have mental space and have clarity of thought, clarity of reflection.
Right, that's what I realized recently, that most of my reactions came not because of my heart, it's because of my mind that was programmed. So I have different experiences in the past. So when there is a situation, the emotions really not came from these emotions, but it's dictated by my mind. So it's a matter of really rewiring your brain, rewiring your mind, and it will take time. You need to practice a lot so that you'll be able to improve your reaction in every situation.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, I just thought of it just now. Like, if you think of it, your mind is a result of many years of childhood and adolescence. That's a lot of years of shaping your mind. So naturally, it takes a lot of years as well if you want to rewire that or change that. I mean, it doesn't need to take 18 years, but it's definitely something that is a process. Just like shaping it has been a process from childhood, from birth to where you currently are, or when you become quite aware as an adult person. Yeah, so we move on to the next point. Wow.
this is my favorite, heart.
We don't have that much
Kapatiran.
time left, so we probably cannot spend as much time on each
Okay.
of the remaining chakras.
So, we say that our heart is troubled by our mental conception of love as something as conditional. This is one of the, this is my favorite because, when we talk about our heart and talk about our kapatiran, it's basically the relationship with the community and our friends and family. So it's really our heart is burdened and cannot really expand when it is limited and affected by our concept of what a relationship is, what love is. So basically, for us, for many people, we grew up in a soap opera, mga television shows and Hollywood. So we thought that love and relationship should be like you will live happily ever after, something like that, and that when you are not achieving it, you accumulate frustrations in your life, and you
Which we do.
yeah, we had that. Like, oh my God, you're supposed to be like this. You're supposed to give me this because that's how I see it in the movies, no? So we become so blind, and we couldn't really see the love. We couldn't really feel. It's difficult for us to feel that when our perception and conception of love is different from what really love is. So that is something that I learned a lot, and change that concept. And now it's like, wow, if relationship could be so easy if we only respect each other and know who we are and respect who we are in the relationship, and it is possible really to have a flourishing relationship if we start with that, knowing each other, respecting each other.
Yeah, which we can do when we understand that love is unconditional. So then whoever the other person is, whatever the other person does, is not going to impact our love for them. If our love isn't like that, how could we possibly really respect them? Like, yeah, I respect you as long as you do what I like, and if you don't, then I don't really respect you anymore. It's like, well, I don't love you, maybe I still respect you. If you can't love somebody, can you really respect them in a way, maybe by taking distance and saying, I'm not going to hurt you, And I'm not going to tell you that you're an awful person. But if you cannot bring love to that person, do you truly respect them? So once we really accept that what love truly is an unconditional embrace that you bring to another person, then we can learn to actually leave another person free in who they are and how they would like to live this life and give expression to who they are in this life. And then when we have that love for them, when we are not heard, when we don't feel or we don't feel treated less than we want to be treated, then we can really bring that respect. So what then is it? In essence, when love is unconditional and we still do not bring that unconditionality through our relationship, through the love that we have, then what it means is we are not yet capable of bringing love. Because when we bring love in full, it is always unconditional, because love is only unconditional. It's simply our heart which is troubled by emotions, troubled by worries, troubled by fears. It's our mental ideas that some things should be like this and other things should be like that. Those are the things that basically interfere or block our capacity to channel love, to carry love through us.
Yeah.
And
something important about that is difficult to love if you cannot really love yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like how can you give love when you don't have it? So the practice and the way, I remember something that when there is difficult person that it's so difficult to care and love because she's always making he or she is always making trouble. Remember that we practice imagining we are loving this person just like how we love our child, and then that love we bring it back to us, so that we can love ourselves, because we love our children unconditionally, and we can also bring that love to us so we can love ourselves unconditionally also. And when we have that kind of love, then we can share it to others in that way.
So much to say about the heart.
Yeah.
It is fascinating. But we'll move on to the next point because we have only about 5 minutes left. So we'd like to move through the other components of the roadmap. The next one is the USAP.
USAP, communication or our throat. This is very interesting because especially every day in the community and people here around, even us, we speak English, but sometimes your expression creates different impression. So I have
Speak English?
I mean, when we are speaking to each other, when you say something, your expression creates an impression. So in that impression also, my feedback is, my reaction is also based on my history or in the past when I hear that word, for example. So that's how I react. So it's really complex. It's really difficult to really communicate transparently and straightforward, especially here in this context, because many people are afraid to express themselves truthfully because we want to make sure that we say pleasing words and we don't want to hurt people, and we feel that it is so disrespectful to say that, oh, that what you said is really rude or not good. I don't like it. So it's difficult for us to do that.
Hurt.
Yeah, because we don't want them to get hurt from our words. So because of that, our communication really become very problematic. We cannot express it, and even giving instructions.
A lot of that is unconscious, actually,
Yeah.
because it has always been like that. As long as we can remember, we've learned to communicate in a way that is pleasing, that doesn't offend others, doesn't put others into shame, that other people find acceptable. So you don't actually realize that you're communicating that way. It just happens automatically. But it does create all the problems, you know, whether it's unconscious or not. If people cannot speak their truth, cannot express themselves, whether it is unconscious or not, conscious or unconscious, the result is the same.
Yeah.
It's more difficult though if it is unconscious, because it's like, what? No, I'm just saying what I want to say. You know? actually, there's a lot more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's true. It's really, a matter of practicing how to communicate your truth in a kind but transparent, straightforward, and with love. When you express your truth, it should be with your heart.
Mm.
And I think it's an art,
Yeah.
and it needs practice to
Yeah.
do that.
Definitely. And then the other side of it is to listen to others, to be
Oh,
able
yeah.
to feel
Wow.
and understand what other people say. That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the other art, part of the communication.
yeah.
But we cannot go into that because we have to move on to the
Just want to say that it's really difficult to listen, because when you're full of yourself, you just want to express yourself, and
Yeah.
you cannot hear the other person.
right.
So yeah, I'm so glad that I was able to improve that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. The penultimate chakra point in the sacral.
Creativity.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but if somebody who is familiar with the chakras, they are oriented or placed in a certain way, in a certain order in our bodies. But we are not following that order because there's a certain flow that we have realized or seen through being able to almost like unlock or unblock the various areas of life that are associated with the chakras. So for example, why do we put the sacral or the creativity after the communication? Because if you want to be creative, but you are afraid to express yourself, because that, to have open communication is a lot related to feeling free to express yourself. And even if that's not going to be accepted or somebody's not going to like it, that you still are able to express yourself. And if you don't have that freedom, then you cannot actually create because you are even afraid to show who you are.
Yeah.
So your creativity, the power, the creative power that we have cannot actually manifest in creating life as an expression of who we are because we are afraid of who we are. So that's why we address first the communication part, the throat chakra, to really unblock that, to work on that, to become free to express, to become conscious of what we express, conscious of what is in us, that we can actually express that. And then to, when we feel more free, to then really look at our creativity.
Yeah. Even with a simple, wearing your clothes and having your own style, it's kind of like difficult for most people because they just want to simply make their life simple and not be judged that, oh, why are you wearing that? What do you want to show people? So they just want to conform. If everybody's wearing t-shirt, they will just wear t-shirts. Maybe that's the reason why in the school you wear your uniform so that there'll be no creativity and no difference. Maybe that's why we didn't develop that creativity.
There are probably many factors contribute.
Yeah.
So the most important is to see our creative power truly as what it essentially is, which is our ability to express ourselves creatively, to manifest who we are in this life through our creativity. Whether it is about decorating your home or taking care of your garden or not taking care of your garden, or the kinds of clothes that you wear, that be an expression of who you are.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to move on to the last point. The solar plexus.
Working together in spirit.
Yeah, that sums it up, doesn't it? Working together in spirit. So the solar plexus is all about our power, our power to do stuff. So it's a bit different from our creative power, where we come up with all kinds of creative ideas. The solar plexus is really to enact those ideas, to make them happen. So it's a lot about willpower, and willpower is connected to our ability to persist. And if you want to do something, more than, let's say, just a basic, you need willpower, you need persistence. So we apply that to every area of our life. And especially where it comes to working together.
Yeah.
Because again, if you work alone, there's only so much you can do. But if you work in a team, if that team works well together, there's no limit really to what you can do. I mean, depending on the size of your team, but if you apply that to the country, if the country is able to work together as a team, right, maybe that's a bit big, say your barangay or your neighborhood, I mean, you can totally transform your neighborhood or your town. There is no difficulty in doing that when you can work together with the people around you. So it's the last one, because the other components are all necessary for us to come into the ability of working well together in spirit. We cannot go deeper into this, but maybe we can just quickly go back to an overview of the roadmap. Can you share it, the last slide? Yeah, so the journey that we've taken, you see on the right side, possibly the left side on your screen, the chakras as they are organized in the body. But the journey we've taken started with the roots. Actually, in fact, we began by looking at the spirit, right? But the journey then begins at the roots, looking through our heart or at our heart, the emotional dynamics within us, then seeing how we can communicate better with each other despite all the emotions that we have. We don't necessarily need to shout if we feel angry, right? So it's around that, and then becoming more creative, then learning to work together. And actually we end up with the heart, and we say then, when we have purified our heart, when we have been able to bring our mind in alignment with spirit, then our heart becomes a sacred heart. And some people may be familiar with the term. Sacred heart is when it's really full of love, unconditional love, and can also really feel the whispers of spirit, which we consider to be the whispers of your soul self, which is really the essence of your spiritual self. Slightly different from spirit, which is guiding you on, but it's guiding you on essentially your soul self. And at the heart of the mandala, you can see the spirit at the core and the mind around it as the entity that guides life, or directs life, I should say, not necessarily guide, because it's spirit that guides. But again, this is not linear. It may have sounded a little bit linear, but it's really not. So we haven't placed them in a linear graphic. It's all fluid and dynamic, and all of these are interconnected, interrelated, and we jump between them. It's one holistic journey. Just for the sake of explanation, in a sense, we took this particular order that we have just taken, but you can take any order and do with it what you want. It's an open invitation. It's a guide that we hope is helpful for people in any way, in a little way or in a big way or in no way. It's all fine. It's all good. All right. Well, then we would like to invite any questions. And we thank you. And we are totally convinced that the Philippines is destined to become a great country. Yes, a light in the world. And by the way, if I may mention it, this image is made in the Pyramid for Light, which is a wonderful spiritual place where there's also a chakra path. So it's a great place to reflect on our chakras and to work on our chakras. Take this roadmap. It's a place that I hope many people can come to visit.
Yeah, we will be there on November 11th.
We will be there.
We will be there. That's in Pangasinan.
Thank
Right,
you so
Chelsea?
much.
Hello.
Hi, Amalia and Benjamin, and thank you so much for sharing with us the Maharlikan roadmap. It is very inspiring, and I'm so honored to be in the same room as you right now.
It's
So-
also inspiring for us to see another human being on this screen. We have just been looking at ourselves.
That's why we're just looking at each other.
What
We had
a
a nice
wonderful
conversation.
couple, by the way. Such power couple. You
Thank
two.
you. Thank you. Chelsea.
And so we'll be going through the comments and the questions from our viewers
Nice.
tonight. And one of the comments that we got, they said it's very poetic, and they love your energy with the Maharlikan roadmap. It's very uplifting, and thank you for sharing your experiences. And then there's another question actually. They said, how can you convince and encourage to join with your journey about spirituality, especially those introverts and depressed people, and those people experience bullying and some kind of abuses that, and especially
Mm.
those people who have different cultures and religion that don't believe about spirituality, and also those busy and poor Filipino community.
Wow, that's a whole lot of different
Yeah, that's
kinds
a
of
whole
peoples.
spectrum.
Where do you want to start?
How do we start? Because this is also something that I can relate to, because one, I'm an introvert and I don't really um like have a lot of access to people coming into my sphere, and being an introvert, sometimes it's hard to to work with other people, especially when you have all these ideas and past traumas and fears of being rejected and all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I can
Yeah,
say
yeah.
something maybe first. First of all, it's a personal journey, right? So everyone's journey is personal
Mm.
and different. Um, in a way, it's a generalization, and every person's journey is unique. So to connect with what these chakras mean, you can do that in your own way and journey through them in your own way. Um, Also, I don't think, like you said, we not everybody wishes to connect in community in the same ways, right? Some
Mm.
people are happy with having one or two or three people around them, some people with nobody around them, and they would just like to take a totally individual journey. That is also fine. Other people would like to connect in certain ways with others, and other people in other ways with others. So it's very personal, very unique, really. I would, one of the things that I could say is, to, in whatever way you feel fits, to connect with your spiritual experience within you. And you can search for that within you when you search for love. And that is going to be different. For example, if you've had traumatic experiences, your search for love, the experience of love within you, can be difficult. If not, sometimes it can be totally absent. Like, you might look for love within you, and like, when did I experience love in my life? I'm not sure. And you're searching and searching and searching, and then you
Mm.
find somebody, and you're like, well, that was kind of love, but was it really fully love? So the search for love is not always easy, really, especially in the way in which a lot of people grow up nowadays. But it is the direction of spirit. And you can start somewhere where you say, hey, there was some love there. And then you dive into that, you focus on it, and you expand it. Can I, how can I grow this? How can I bring more love? And especially to yourself. And
Right.
what Amalia said, if you can love yourself the way you can love a little child, most people can love small children. It's not so hard, because for most people, they are not dangerous. They're just cute and silly, and make lots of silly mistakes. And then we have the ability to guide them, so we feel very safe in loving another child, a young child. When they become older, it can be more difficult. But so if you can love yourself the way you love a 2 3 year old child, really unconditional love, and you can bring that to yourself with all your own silliness and many mistakes that you make, and sometimes you do things that are not good, but you do it. So we're not very different from children, if you think
Yeah.
of it. We're just bigger and have more thoughts and have more ability to express ourselves, and that can make us dangerous. We have the ability to hurt others. It's really true. So it's easier to love a young child than to love an adult, but you can learn to love yourself as a young child.
Oh, that is so heartwarming. And also, I think another way of looking at it is like one community is so different from another,
Yeah.
and our experiences from each one, like one person or another person and another person, they may be similar, but then everyone is still
Mm,
different. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
looking looking at it that way, I think also made me aware, and also made me kind of work with communities, because I also volunteer here in Bacolod. So
Mm,
sometimes that is how I see things, even if I am not able to fully work I mean, fully engage
Mm,
with other people
yeah,
as much as I want to.
right.
Yeah. And sometimes, when the person is like what you said, Chelsea, like if the person is introvert and they don't feel comfortable
Mm,
being around other people or in a community, starting from within you, like understanding yourself first, knowing yourself first, and then when you're in a state where you are comfortable already to share that, to share who you are, you can find somebody, a best friend, your mother, your sister, your brother, to be your companion, so that you can transparently show yourself to this person and be able to feel that you are also understood by that person that you trust, because you like you unveil who you
mm,
are.
Yeah,
So when you
yeah,
feel that, wow, he understands me or she understands me, or we resonate to each other. So it's a beginning. Like you have a companion and you grow together, you speak about who you are and your weaknesses and your strength, and then through this guide, this tool, this mandala, you will apply. So how do I communicate? How do we feel about this? So it's an exchange and it's more intimate. So you can start. It's a suggestion. If you can
yeah.
be in a community, yeah, you can find someone that you can
Right.
talk to. Yeah.
Right. It's a good thing that you raised that point about being comfortable with
Yeah.
oneself, because once you're comfortable and not very, we get to that, but once you're comfortable and secure about who you are, you
Hmm.
really have this it becomes an automatic thing
Yeah.
wherein you kind of want to expand and
Yeah.
share, right?
You feel that you're in a safe
mm, yeah.
space.
Yeah,
Right, right.
Yeah.
it's really about that. It's fundamentally about that. And the reality is, it's a bit of a sad reality, but the reality is, a lot of people, if not most people, if not all people around us, cannot love us unconditionally. They don't have the capacity to love us unconditionally. They're not ready for it, and that includes our parents. A lot of our parents don't also have the capacity to love us unconditionally once we pass the 3 4 years, and we go into 9, 10, 11, 15, 16. Oh, it becomes so difficult for our parents to bring that same unconditional love the way they would when we are 1 2 years old.
Right.
So if we have lacked it, as I've said earlier, if we have lacked love, if we don't find it in our current environment, there is always the love of spirit, which is always there with us.
Mm-mm.
But that depends on our ability to perceive it, right? To feel it, to give some time to feel into that love of spirit. That is always there. It has always been there, and it will always be there, and it will never change.
Yeah.
So you're loved unconditionally always by spirit, and that depends on your capacity to give time to feel that love.
Yeah. That's why it's important that we feel that we are loved by the Creator, by God, so that when we feel that, we will feel your importance.
Yes. Except when the religion tells us that we are not good enough, that God judges us if
Oh,
we do this or do that. So that is another massive obstacle in this world to love, to unconditional love. Religion telling us you are only worthy of love if you do this and do that, and if you do not do this and that. So this is another obstacle, and it's a big one. But hopefully, I mean, yeah, we hope that people will be able to break through that idea of
Fear.
God
It's fear.
as a judgmental
Mm-mm.
uh, little
right.
man.
And last one, this is a really good question. How to become part of your journey about Maharlikan Roadmap, and how
Yeah,
to
that
be
is.
part or be a member of your community.
That's the best
Come on,
question.
Come.
Yeah. So, we I don't know, for people who don't live very near, would be so awesome to start an online community. We don't have a page yet for our Maharlikan roadmap or community, but you can connect with us via Kaimangi Organic, which is our social enterprise. So on Facebook, just look for Kaimangi Organic, send us a message, and we'll be there to reply. And would love to, journey with you in any way. And email also Amalia at kaimangiorganic.com, Benjamin at kaimangiorganic.com. You're most welcome to connect with us in this way. Join us on this journey.
thank you
You're
so much.
nearby
Thank you.
in the Eco Village, right?
Yeah.
And we really love your presence here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chelsea.